Dictionaries, on the other hand, look a little bit different. You can see here that I've started my variable with the lowercase d, indicating that it's a dictionary object. That's not what makes it a dictionary object. That's just how I remind myself that it's a dictionary. I use the assignment operator, and instead of square brackets surrounding the list, we have, in this case, curly braces surrounding the list. The other thing that's different is that this list contains key and value pairs. The key is sort of a label for what's in that thing. So it's a label for the container. You can think of it almost like a variable name for that piece of data that's in that list. So if I have, for example, an employee record, a dictionary is really useful for that. If I had a list that represented that employee record, it would just contain Bob, 25, DEV, and that email address. A list isn't so useful for that because I don't necessarily know what 25 represents. Is it Bob's age? Is it his IQ? Is it his salary? What is it? So using a dictionary, what I've created are keys that represent each value. And you can see the name is Bob, age is 25, job is developer, email is the email address. So that's nice because I can use those labels to understand what that data is. You can see here that the keys are all strings, and let's stick to that for now. The keys don't necessarily have to be strings out in the global universe of Python, but for the purpose of this class, let's use strings for each key. The values can be any object, just like in a regular list. And what we have here is we have a key, and then a colon, and then the value. And then we have a comma before we do the next one. Key, colon, value, comma. Again, we repeat that pattern for every key and value pair. And then we close with the curly brace. You'll notice that I have repeated this dictionary object twice, one with a format that's more vertical and another that's a more horizontal format. Those do the exact same thing. You can choose to create it this way if you're creating a dictionary object manually, or you can create it this way. It's strictly based on your preference. And the way I decide when I do that in my code is by looking at how long the horizontal line would be. Because if I can't see the whole thing, if it gets cut off by my screen, then sometimes it's more useful to display them vertically. So as long as I have a curly brace at the beginning and end, I can have line breaks here that allows me to see those values very clearly. So when I have a longer dictionary object with more key and value pairs, I often do it this way. If it's a shorter one with maybe one or two, then I just do it horizontally. So to compare that to a list, it is ordered like a list, although I would say the order doesn't really matter in a dictionary, because rather than being indexed by numbers, they are what's called key indexed, which means if I want to access in the list, if I wanted to access one of these items, I would use the name of the list and the index. In a dictionary, I'm going to use the name of the dictionary and the key for the value that I want to use.